Good morning, good
Year-old
morning,
Neziah
good
Harris
morning,
hasn't
good
been seen
morning.
since January.
Hold on. Good morning, everybody. I know it's been a long time. Well, let's listen to some testimony of the 13-year-old girl out of Detroit that's been missing for a year now. Her anniversary is coming up, I want to say Thursday. Let's start this thing off like this.
Ninth. Now DPD is taking the lead on that investigation. CBS News Detroit's Gino Vici is live this afternoon where Zenaiyah went to school, and he has what we know so far. Gino, what can you tell us?
Rochelle, as you just mentioned, this is where Neziah Harris went to school at the J.E. Clark Prep Academy here on the east side of Detroit. Now, we're told that she got onto a bus after school January 9th, and a bus driver told police that she got off the bus that day near the corner of Cornwall and 3 Mile Drive, but she did not return home, hasn't been seen since. Now, this afternoon, Detroit police were canvassing an area near Shoemaker and Garland. That's near 94 and French Road. They did not say why, only that they received information that led them to search that location. Now, during that news conference today, they say they're not ruling out foul play, but said they did not believe, at least initially, that she was abducted. Her grandmother spoke during that news conference and made a plea for the community to help find her granddaughter.
Oh, really?
Anyone that knows anything.
This is the grandmama, Annette Harris.
Please contact the police department. She's been missing for a very long time.
Well, why you didn't go
Neziah
to the
is a
police
very
department when
sweet
she was missing?
This
When
is
she didn't
not
get off the
of her
bus?
character.
You went to bed that night later.
We've been looking for her. We've been passing out flyers. We've been calling people. She's been missing. She's been gone too long. I can't sleep. I can't eat.
Huh?
Just bring her home, please.
Girl.
That's all I'm asking.
Girl.
So heartbreaking. Of course, if you have any information about where Neziah Harris could possibly be, you are asked to call Detroit police. Rochelle?
Gino, January 9th was more than a month ago. A question some people might have naturally. Why is this just now getting more attention? It's mid-February.
Well, that is a very good question, Rochelle. Now, initially, a liaison officer at Clark Prep Academy here was handling the missing persons case, but Detroit police say they learned new information. Again, they wouldn't disclose what that is, and that is what prompting this new search. And we're also told they may be searching several other areas today, but they did not disclose where that might be.
All right, something we know you'll certainly continue to follow. Gino, thank you for that live report.
Okay, let's go here.
We turn now to Detroit police sounding the alarm for the safety of a missing Detroit teenager. Neziah Harris, last seen on January 9th after leaving school at J.E. Clark Preparatory Academy near Cornwall and 3 Mile. 7 Action News reporter Sarah Michaels spoke with family members about their frantic search for the 13-year-old.
Neziah's grandmother tells me that this is where Neziah was last seen, at Cornwall Street and 3 Mile. She tells me that the school bus dropped her off right here on January 9th. What happened next is unknown.
For her to be late, she has never been late coming home. She's always got permission to do things.
Annette Harris is 13-year-old Neziah Harris's grandmother and legal guardian. When was the last time that you heard from your granddaughter?
When I dropped her off at school, which was on January 9th.
Neziah is an 8th grader at Clark Elementary School in Detroit, described as being incredibly sweet and a rule follower. Annette tells me when Neziah didn't come home from school on January 9th, she knew immediately something was wrong and reported her missing the next day.
The next day? What happened to the same day?
Has been handling the investigation. That's until Wednesday, when after a month of fruitless searching for the...
Let me pause 1 minute.
Have you seen this boy?
Wait.
Deontay Mitchell.
What did they do then?
We turn now to Detroit
I need to
police
pause
sounding the
this.
alarm
Just
for
pause. Let me say this. If you got a child of your own, adopted child that's in your home, or a child that you're just keeping for a neighbor or someone else. It's no way in hell that they go to school and supposed to come back to your residence and they don't make it back. And you say, oh, I'm going to wait till tomorrow and report it to the school. No, bitch. Go to the police. So it won't make it seem like you got anything to do with this bullshit. For that lady that y'all just seen on there, her name is Lynette Harris, which is her biological grandmother. That's who this child lived with, her. This lady said she waited till the next day and told the dean that she did not make it home. That sounds so stupid and bizarre to me. Because I wouldn't have told no school a damn thing. The police would have been notifying the school, not me notifying the school as a parent. Let's go.
The safety of a missing Detroit teenager, Neziah Harris, last seen on January 9th after leaving school at J.E. Clark Preparatory Academy near Cornwall and 3 Mile. 7 Action News reporter Sarah Michaels spoke with family members about their frantic search for the 13-year-old.
Neziah's grandmother tells me that this is where Neziah
I'm
was
tired of
last
hearing the
seen.
grandmama
At
name.
Fulton
I ain't
Street
lying.
in
I'm
3
tired
Mile.
of
She
hearing
tells me that the school bus dropped her off right here on
it.
January
At this
9th.
point, she ain't
What
shit.
happened next is
And I
unknown.
said it.
For her to be late, she has never been late coming home. She's always got permission to do things.
Annette Harris is 13-year-old Neziah Harris's grandmother and legal guardian. When was the last time that you heard from your granddaughter?
When I dropped her off at school, which was on January 9th.
Neziah is an 8th grader at Clark Elementary School in Detroit, described as being incredibly sweet and a rule follower. Annette tells me when Neziah didn't come home from school on January 9th, she knew immediately something was wrong and reported her missing the next day. Detroit Public Schools Community District's police department has been handling the investigation. That's until Wednesday, when after a month of fruitless searching for the teen, Detroit Police Department announced that they're taking over.
We're very, very concerned.
Neziah is a very sweet child. She really is.
Sweet
You know,
ain't got
my
nothing
biggest
to
fear
do
was
with this
somebody
child
holding
being
her.
missing,
I
ma'am.
don't believe that initially there was an abduction.
Police say they don't believe Neziah was abducted initially, but when pressed, wouldn't answer if they think she went off with someone willingly. And that tells me that Neziah's school looked at the bus video from January 9th and can see Neziah getting off at her regular stop here.
She got off the bus with her schoolmate and walked up to the corner of Warren and 3 Mile Drive. And one of the school kids said that she turned right instead of turning left. And that's all I know.
Police say they are questioning.
Oh, you know
everyone
more than
who
that,
knows
ma'am.
Neziah. They're working with local, state, and federal partners to look everywhere. If someone is watching right now and they know where Neziah is, what would you like to say to them?
Neziah's life may be in danger.
My name is Lori Clark Horton. I am the owner of LACC Child Care Academy 1, 2, and about to be 3. I'd like to thank Deborah for inviting me to be her guest host this evening. This is a very, very disturbing case. This case is making news worldwide. The little girl that you see smiling and happy and looks like she's saying, hello everyone to the world, I can't wait to meet you. Well, unfortunately, this picture is very deceiving. This little girl was murdered by her auntie's boyfriend. This is going to be a sad case for some to even hear. It's going to be really disturbing, but I would advise any single parent with children or just parents with children, even just family members, please try to stay on and listen to the history of this story. According to our Kim Worthy, our prosecuting attorney from Wayne County. This little girl actually was 13 years of age. She had been, she's presumed now to be dead. I think the death date that they're giving her is January the 9th, 2024. And this was reported 9 months ago to the Detroit Public School System Police, but not the police, the Detroit Police, which it should have been right away.
Okay.
So we're gonna let Deborah let you chime in, and I will come back to you and let you know some more interesting facts about this case.
Yes. Hello, everyone. I'm Noni Lovechild, author and poet. My book is entitled A Voice from Third World America. And I hope we can, give the information that will, bring some closure. Without the body, I know it will not be any closure for the family. But this is a statistic that is happening in our community. This is one case of millions. Thank you.
I'm Keisha Lewis. I consider myself an advocate for the youth. I am also an overcomer. I never say survivor, but overcomer of molestation.
As I was saying, and thank you, ladies, for sharing that information, because it helps women, a lot of women, children, everybody to know that they're not alone in the world. It didn't happen to me, I thank God, because I was surrounded by, couldn't go no place or do anything, but I reached my love out to you, to both of you, for even being able and strong enough to share that information, because a lot of people would not. Messiah was, they think that at the age of 22, that her auntie's boyfriend started molesting her. And then Kim Worthy, our prosecuting attorney from Wayne County, stated today that this on February 22nd was reported to the Detroit Police. However, the mother and the auntie knew that this man was a child molester. She knew he had served 10 years in prison for child molestation and abuse. Yet she let him come into her home where her niece resided, along with her own children. I understand from the cousin of Naziah that there was a young girl in the house as young as 11 years old. He went, when she went missing on January the 9th, she didn't come home from off the bus. It was assumed, it was allegedly he met her at a hotel room, and that was the last time that anyone knew of her whereabouts. And this is so disturbing because he not only was molesting her, he actually got her pregnant. She was pregnant, and when they found out that he was trying to find ways to abort the baby, like having her drink antifreeze and other several, any kind of way to abort the child that he possibly could. So it is alleged that on January the 9th, that he more than likely took her life, even though her body has not been found. They do know that they have an overwhelming amount of evidence that he was the last person with her and that a murder took place. So
I do want to play a little bit of the press conference from the Wayne County prosecutor, but you said something very interesting about the aunt was aware from according to the cousin, he did tell her his history. And then I don't know if the family started to notice some things and looked into his background and at what point they became aware. But our question tonight is, who failed this child?
Absolutely.
Who failed?
And Laura and Pan, I would like to clarify. I think she was 13, so they think it started around 11.
Oh,
yeah.
Jesus.
Around 2022, yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
2022.
Okay.
Yeah, and then when he did his arraignment on Friday, they added more charges for these other cases, right, Lori?
Yes, it is.
For other children,
Yes,
including his own biological child that started at age 8, I believe, and he actually started penetrating her at age 10, his own biological child. And then the 4-year-old, who I believe is age 11 now, that was the child of another girlfriend, he gave the 4-year-old chlamydia.
chlamydia, yes. Yes, he did.
So it's a very interesting thing. So I think in terms of reporting, let's deal with reporting, because I think it kind of starts there in terms of was this reported? Was there no, because according to the family, there were calls made to CPS with no help.
Yes,
Then, of course, the last day that that Naziah was seen on January the 9th, the family claims that they reported her missing to the school the next day, but the school didn't report it to the police until sometime in February. What was the date in February, Lori?
the 24th, February
The
24th.
24th of February.
Mhm.
So what in the world happened? And Keisha, I think you could help us understand the process of how schools operate and what are they required to do, because I don't understand why they would not be have some type of liability here.
Absolutely.
So I can interject and let me just give like a warning that the process changes a lot. So from my stint with the Board of Education, if a parent calls in and reports something to the child, it is the responsibility of the school to follow the timeline. So the umbrella of which the child was the responsibility of the school. So if she left the school building, she got on a school bus, got off of the school bus, right?
Right.
That ends the responsibility legally of the school. Okay. So from
I see you on
under the-
Papoose. Good morning.
From under the roof of the school building on a school
I want us
bus,
to talk about this
that's
trial right
still the
here.
school's
Well,
responsibility.
this
but once she
situation called a
exited
trial.
that bus,
He done been
and
bounded
she
over.
was not
So on the
in any type of
17th, I guess he'll
danger
know
or
when his
that
court
anybody
going to
could
be.
see.
But I want us
Now
to cover this.
The school legally has no more responsibility for that child, right? Now, where it gets a little murky is if the parent called the school the next day and said this child never made it home, then the school at that point should have made it's several types of reports that you're supposed to make, right? So the first one, if a parent calls and says, my child didn't come home from school, our job is to follow the timeline from the time that she was released from our responsibility, right? Then we are to make a report to our own DPS police force. We have social workers and child social workers within the under the umbrella of the public
This
school
thing is
system.
not on the school.
And then go from there. Someone should have called, visited the home or something as within that 24-hour stint to see if the child made it back home. If it was not a physical body of the child or she didn't make it back home. It's just like if you reported her missing to to Detroit Public, I'm sorry, to the department, the police department. You have to physically bring the person in to take the missing report off, right? And it's something similar to that when it comes to the school. We actually have to physically see the child in order to take a missing report off. So that means that a few reports were not made or were neglected to be made within the 24
That's what I'm
hours.
saying right there.
There's no way that a child is missing and they don't turn it over to the police department a month later. There should have been 3 days later, she wasn't in school, so there should have been an absence report made, right? 5 days later or 10 days later, there should have been an officer or someone alerted to go out to the house and see where this child is because they have not been coming to school. So it's a whole bunch of things that's a little gray in that area.
Yeah.
I feel that it's a lot of gray areas, period, because the first step
Is.
for me would be, why is a child molester to spend 10 years in prison in a house with children, period?
Okay.
That's the first area of
Yeah.
concern for me. I mean, you have to register. The family members said that they knew, they alleged that they knew that this man had been to prison for 10 years for the same thing. In fact, Kim Worthy, a prosecuting attorney, she stated that he preyed on women. He really, really went after women with girls, with young children.
Right.
So my first step, before we even get to school, why is this man in the house with this?
Answer, she wanted it. So a lot of times it is swept under the rug. As I said, school, they did not do anything. I saw a 12-year-old pregnant in the foster care system, and this is just not in the system. It's just Black girls. I say 1 in 5 Black women or girl is raped, and 1 in 15 don't report it because they are victimized by the system, sexual abuse. After moving from Detroit here to Virginia, a lady called me who's in the Navy now. I won't mention her name. She didn't give me permission, but she was placed in a foster home after I left. And she told CPS, she told her social worker that the foster father is molesting her. They call her a liar. Why are Black women and girls not believed? It is our men, uncles, brothers, and also the foster mothers.
Tell me I'm gonna believe it.
Biological or foster to protect girls. And when it comes to rape and boys.
I've heard those accusations, Deborah, before, that Black girls are, or girls are, when they're acting older, like they're fast, that's an old word.
Yeah.
Promiscuous, they're acting this way or that way. Let it be known that a child is a child.
Yeah.
A child is a child. If they walk fast, if they walk with a twist, if they take off a shirt, whatever, a child is a child.
Well, that's true.
Well, not only that, if you're seeing those type of behaviors in children, those are outcries to something else is going on. Because whatever a child mimics or does is learned behavior.
Yeah.
Right.
Mhm.
So a lot of times, grown-ups, and I could say within my own past or history, they didn't recognize the signs, right? As well as I believe that the shame and all of that sits or tells me that that type of behavior sits comfortably with that family. So there's something within their family history that they're used to that type of behavior, right? For
Yeah.
somebody to be uncomfortable or upset or inquire about this child having these types of behaviors, because it had to be something shown.
And let me say this to that point, because there was an interview done by the great aunts saying that because apparently allegedly the Naziah lived with her grandmother. To my understanding, the mother was killed in 2021, and allegedly, as her mom had been arrested as a part of a prostitution ring. Now, that is not, I can't verify that information at this point, but to my understanding, that is what happened at the age of 19 with her mother. And then at some point, I think a couple of years later, the mom was killed. The father was estranged from her for 8 years. When they interviewed the father, who has now since passed away from congestive heart failure.
Her mom is still alive.
Said that he had been when they approached him about Naziah being missing, he didn't even know where she was. He had been looking for her for 8 years. So there's a lot of moving parts here, but I want to say this. When they interviewed the aunts, the great aunts, I believe, they said when they approached their mother, the grandmother where she lived, about concerns about the man, we now know his name to be Jarvis Butts. The grandmother supposedly said, "I don't get involved with my children's business."
Wait, y'all, it changed.
Where she lived, about concerns about the man, we now know his name to be Jarvis Butts. The grandmother supposedly said, "I don't get involved with my children's business." So this is a whole problem, right?
That's more than a problem.
Yeah, that's a whole problem.
We try and teach our children now, if they see something, to say something.
Right.
That's what I teach mine.
The shame or the whatever ism that follows molestation or rape, that the onus is put on that they're not good parents or they're not this. The whole objective is to save the child, period.
Yeah.
Period.
I personally don't know a grandmother who would have made that statement. If that statement is true, I don't know a grandmother, period,
Come on now.
that would make that statement after their grandchild.
Goddamn, somebody don't give a fuck.
Yeah, that's crazy to me. That's almost unbelievable.
So that's what we believe.
And as a community, we're really comfortable seeing older men with younger women. Let's look at the R. Kelly and Aaliyah situation. They said with this child that she was when she stopped by after school, she got off the bus, she stopped by his auto shop, and him and one of the employees took them somewhere, and later he checked in the hotel. We see a grown 40-something-year-old for 13-year-old. I guess we assume it could be his daughter, but as a community, we just got so comfortable with that. The color purple is not new. I mean, that was our legacy, far as girls were, with older men. And I think we look at R. Kelly, he got away with it for so
y'all,
long
let's go
that
to the testimony of Shannon, of the auntie. Let's go to her testimony. Let's listen at her. We're gonna start there first, and then we're gonna go to the grandma. R. Kelly ain't got nothing to do with this right here. Yes.
Good morning, congratulations. State your name for the record.
Shannon Harris,
And Ms. Harris, how old are you?
31.
And back on January, or in January 2024, where did you live?
With my mom. Resides with my mother.
With your mother? Okay, who's your mom?
Annette Harris.
And without telling me the exact
She
address.
was Shannon Harris was the third witness.
And do you have any children?
Yes.
How many kids do you have?
5.
And do all your kids have the same dad?
Yes.
Who's their dad?
Jarvis Butts.
Jarvis Butts
And
is
can
the
you see,
monster.
Jarvis Butts in the photo today?
Yes.
And can you point to him and tell me the color of the clothing that he's wearing?
Green. Well, whatever. Green.
Green. Your Honor, would the record reflect the witnesses identified the defendant in this case?
So reflected.
Thank you, Judge. And you said your mom's name is Annette. Do you have any sisters?
Yes, 2.
What are their names?
Kenyatta Harris and Marquita Harris.
Are they older, younger, something else?
Other. Marquita is a twin. She's my twin, same age.
And Kenyatta's older?
Yes.
Do you have any nieces or nephews?
Yes.
Do you know someone named Neziah Harris?
Yes.
What's your relationship to her?
My relationship to her, she is my niece. I'm her aunt.
Okay. And whose daughter is she?
My older sister is Kenyatta Harris.
And did you have any nicknames for Neziah?
Yes. We all call her Tudda.
And is that Tudda?
Yes.
And did Neziah ever know Jarvis through you?
Yes.
And when did Neziah and Jarvis first meet?
Well, she was little, like age 2.
And can you kind of describe the relationship between Neziah and Jarvis?
Should be just the uncle and the niece relationship, no more than that.
How often would Jarvis be around, like at your house with you?
He will call or say, can he come see the kids, or the kids will ask him to see their dad, and he will come pull up either to my house where I used to live or at my mother's house.
Would Neziah ever be around?
All the kids will be around.
To your knowledge, would Neziah ever text Jarvis?
From my knowledge, no, unless I will have her to text.
But to your knowledge, you didn't know of any kind of separate outside relationship?
No.
Would there ever be times where, where did you know Jarvis Butts to work?
Pardon?
Where did you know Jarvis Butts to work?
Where did I know him to work at?
Yes.
We worked at 2 different locations. The first location would be on East Warren, and the other location would be on Gratiot and Donner.
And what were those locations?
Those are the auto repair shop.
Would you ever know Neziah to help Jarvis Butts at his shop?
Yes, he will call me and say, hey, if I can get our daughter and Neziah to come and work up at the shop. And I would say, let me ask my mom.
Now, y'all tell me, why would he call and ask for girls? Why he ain't calling ask for his sons? You don't call and ask for you get the girls to come up there to clean up a fucking shop. Any man will be offensive. A real man will be offensive of their children even being around a fucking shop, around nothing but a bunch of fucking men be around. That's dumb right there. That bitch sounds slow. Let's go.
First, regarding Neziah.
And which daughter of yours would that be?
That would be my oldest, Janiyah.
Would you ever know Messiah to go to Jarvis's shop alone?
No.
You lying, bitch.
Whose birthday?
Man, he sitting there with a fucking mask covered up his damn face.
That's
They
my
must
oldest.
have wrapped him
I'm
across
sorry,
his
my
damn mouth or something.
Oldest birthday.
Do you recall a birthday party on September 26th of 2022?
Yes.
And was Jarvis there?
No.
Okay. And that would have been his son's birthday party?
Yes.
Were there ever times that you would text Jarvis off of a text now number?
The only time I would text Jarvis off a text my number is if my phone is off. Other than that, no.
And do you recall the numbers that you would text Jarvis from?
Yes.
Okay. And does a 586-510-5161 sound familiar?
Yes.
And what number is that?
That used to be my old number.
And is that number that you would text Jarvis from?
Yes.
And what about a 586-842-4504?
That was the number before this number.
Before the 510 number?
Correct.
Okay. And is that a number you also?
Yeah, a lot of damn numbers.
Correct.
And what number did you have for Jarvis Funds?
The 313-585-8719.
And did you have any numbers for Desire?
It was a funny looking area code. The area code was a 231.
Okay. I want to show you some messages from People's Exhibit 16. And ask you some questions about them, okay? You're in the address? Yes. I'm going to direct you to messages on or about June 27th of 2023. Do you recall those messages? Did you send any of those messages to Jarvis Butts?
No.
Okay. And do you know, I believe there's a phone number here that's highlighted. Whose phone number do you know that to be?
Jarvis Butts.
Okay. And you don't recall ever sending any of those messages?
No.
Okay. And now I want to direct you to messages from June 28th of 2023. How about any of these? Did you send any of these to Jarvis Butts?
No.
What about any messages from July 2nd of 2023? Did you send any of those messages?
No.
What about messages from August 26th of 2023. Did you send any of those to Jarvis Butts?
Yeah, she did. She sent them up there to the shop, supposedly to go clean up. That's why her ass need to be locked up. The grandmama need to be locked up. All of them need. They know what the fuck going on. Cause she looked up in her tablet and see what she was texting that man. All this could have been prevented if they had just been adults.
That Nziah texted him to meet up on January 9th, 2024.
No.
Did you tell Jarvis Butts about not being able to locate Nziah on January 9th, 2024?
Yes.
And tell me, how did you tell him that?
I called him. He didn't answer.
Listen at this one,
I
Papoose.
sent him a message asking him if he seen Tula any whereabouts, and he said no Tula, and he responded back. Oh wow.
I didn't hear what you said. The last part.
Last part I had, I texted him. Well, first I called him. He didn't answer. The second time I sent him a message, still no Tula. He replied back, oh wow.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. And
She stated that she contacted Jarvis Butts, which is her baby daddy. She got 5 children with him, right? 3 girls, 2 boys. Said, was telling her that they couldn't find Tut. That's what they called the little girl. That's her little play name around the house. So he texts back and said, oh wow. Cause she was already in his possession already. We gonna get to that. Just keep listening to it. Cause all of them finna add up.
Yes.
And just for record references, I'm showing her what's going to be proposed, People's Exhibit 48. Ms. Harris, those text messages that you just referenced, do you see those on this page?
Yes.
Okay. And so it's fair to say you stated to Mr. Butts, well, first of all, whose phone number is this at the top?
The phone number is my old telephone number.
Okay, and who is the phone number below that?
Jarvis Butts.
Okay. And is this, I guess, did these fairly and accurately represent these 2 messages? 3, 4, 6 messages sent between you and Mr. Butts on January 9th, 2024 through January 11th, 2024.
The first page is, yes, it's correct. Second page is correct. Yes.
Okay. And so in January 9th, like you had indicated before, you had stated that you told him that there was still no Tutta.
Correct.
Okay. And you said he responded, oh, wow.
Correct.
Okay. And on January 11th, was.
Look how the judge looking at her.
Yes.
Okay. And did you ask Mr. Butts to do something?
I just asked that if she's going to read from the text message just
Again, no, Judge. Did these fairly and accurately represent text messages between you and your phone to Jarvis and his phone between, well, they start back earlier, some from December 3rd, 2023 through January 21st of 2024? These fairly and accurately represent text messages between you and your phone to Mr. Butts and his phone?
Yes.
Okay. Your Honor, I move for the admission of People's Proposed Exhibit 48.
Thank you.
Thank you, Judge. So on January 11th, did you ask Mr. Butts to do something?
Yes.
And what is it that you asked him to do?
I asked him, can he share the missing flyer on his Facebook page?
Okay. And did you send him a copy of that missing flyer?
Yes.
Okay.
Can he share the missing? Lord Jesus. Did he do it, bitch?
To backtrack just a little bit, on December 30, 2023, do you recall sending messages asking Mr. Butts if he needed Neziah for anything?
Listen, one Papoose.
Oh, yes, I do remember.
Now, hold up.
So do you remember this text?
She just asked her, do you remember sending Jarvis Butts a text message asking him, do you still need Lazar and their daughter to come to the shop? Listen at this. Check this out.
On the first page of People's Exhibit 48.
Yes, I do remember this message.
Okay. And did you send that message?
Yes.
Okay. And what did the message say?
Tilla said, do you still need her too?
Okay. And do you know what is that referring to?
It was, Tilla had asked me to contact Jarvis to see if he still needed them to clean up.
Okay. And that would be to clean up his shop?
Yes.
Okay. And
Right. That's why they ass going to jail too.
On January 21st, 2024, you sent some messages to Mr. Butts. Is that fair to say?
Yes.
Okay. And can you read these last 3 messages?
Check this out.
These last 3 messages is, to be honest, these messages I seen into the inbox to you, I really don't know what to believe anymore. Stay away, Ramon, I mean it. The next message is, I don't know what to say, or Tilla is on. Since this shit doesn't sit right with me, call it what you want, I'm good, period. It says, this for life. Nigga, I thought about it, and you can pass it. And don't call me, no need to explain shit. I already see it.
Okay. So you were
Now.
referencing some messages that you saw in Tilla's inbox.
Correct.
Tell me, how did you see some messages?
Now she's saying that she got the little girl, her niece's tablet. What a little girl was texting Jarvis Butts, which is her baby daddy of her 5 kids, and the little girl is her niece. So she seen the messages. So now she want to send him those messages saying, call it what you want to call it, this, that, and other, la, la, la. Now listen at this. Check it out.
Well, first of all, where these messages, where were they at?
The day of, Officer Gardner came to pick up Neziah's tablet. My mom asked me to put it on the charger. I put it on the charger. Officer Gardner, after that, Officer Gardner called and said she's on her way.
Without saying what?
Okay, I'm sorry. The officer had called and said that they was on their way.
Still safe.
Okay. Okay. So,
Sustained as far as hearsay.
yes, thank you, Judge. Continue.
So the tablet, before the tablet was picked up, I looked inside Tilla's tablet. She has 2 passwords that I normally know. So one of them is referenced for her brother's birthday, and the other one is referenced for my password. So I put the first password in, it didn't work. So I put the second password in. So the first thing I went to was Instagram, which I was scrolling. And I seen Jarvis Butts' Instagram page. I clicked on his page and I seen 2 messages.
Okay. And
Now she trying to say that she see messages on Instagram. She said she seen 2 messages. I guarantee you it just wasn't no 2 fucking messages. That bitch sitting up there lying.
What were the messages that you saw? Who were they between, first of all?
Neziah, my niece, and Jarvis.
Okay. And what were the messages that you seen?
It was roughly 2 messages that I've seen that I can recall. Yeah, states,
Objects to this is hearsay. They have not been admitted, and the messages themselves will be the evidence. Were they of any? Were the messages of a sexual nature?
no,
Okay. And you said you saw 2 messages.
yes.
Okay. Did you see anything else?
It was two set pictures, but you
Stop
couldn't
talking
really
about what you
figure
see,
out
bitch.
what
Just go and say it, because you talking all around. Come on with that.
What did seeing those messages, what did they cause you to do?
Well, when I seen those messages, I called him and Jarvis Butts.
Okay.
Called him while he was at work, asked him what is his message that seen between you and my niece. And he said, what messages? So there's 2 particular messages that states out and there's a picture. And
That she was sending them up there. He was calling and texting her, telling her to send them.
Messages were, and he said it was probably our children was messaging him. And I stated no, because I know how our children will text.
Okay. And reading those messages, is that what caused you to text
Mr. Butts,
Mr.
yes,
Butts, in that you've seen the messages in the inbox and you don't really know what to believe anymore?
correct.
Okay. So, Karen, I want to take you back to January 9th. Were you home that day?
Yes,
Okay. And did you see Neziah that day?
my senior did, that morning, correct.
And do you remember what she was wearing that up?
Her coat and her uniform at the time, she had on some blue jeans. I don't really recall the outfit. I just know the coat she had on.
What was the coat that she had on?
She had on, it was a 90s coat with all the characters on it.
Okay. And you recall seeing her wearing that the morning of January 9th?
Correct.
And your manager was already good at exhibit 2?
Yes.
Now I'm going to show you people's exhibit 2. Can you tell me, do you recognize a coat in this photo?
Yes,
And whose coat do you recognize that to be?
Neziah's.
Okay. Now, after you, when you saw Neziah that morning, what did you do the rest of the morning?
Nothing, I was at home with my mom and my 2 children.
And do you ever leave the house at any point that day?
No, I was at the house all with her day.
And do you know what time Neziah would normally get home from school?
On certain days, she will stay for after school, and then on certain days she will come home. The days she will stay for after school is 6, and the days that she don't is at 3 o'clock.
Okay. And on January 9th, do you know if Neziah had the after school program?
Yes. At that time, my mom took her out of the after school program, so she will come home directly at 3 o'clock.
Okay. And were you home at 3 o'clock?
Yes.
And did you see Neziah come home?
No.
Okay. And did you see her come home at all the rest of the night?
No.
Did you leave at any point after 3 o'clock?
No.
Did you, when Neziah didn't come home, did that cause you to experience or feel any type of way?
It did. When she didn't come home,
Okay. If she didn't come home, did it make you feel some type of way? It couldn't have, because you did not leave home, period, lady. You didn't show no active duty, no kind of emotions, no kind of nothing when it came down to that little girl not walking through that door, 13 years old in the 8th grade. Now she's sitting here lying. Now listen at this.
When my mom went to go pick up the other 2 children from the after school program, they knocked on the door and they had asked a question and said,
Sounds like hearsay.
you,
A question is a hearsay technically. I think she said she said. She said a question.
yeah,
A question.
Okay. What was the question?
the 2 children had asked me, Mom said, did
That's the hearsay.
Neziah come home?
The hearsay is mom said.
Lord have mercy.
Okay, so were you asked directly whether Desire came home?
So my mom was still in the car, I was inside the house. They was coming to the house, walking up to the door. When I opened the door, they asked me, Mom said, did Neziah come home? I said, no.
So what did y'all do?
And was Desire home at all?
No.
Okay. And did you do any sort of looking for Desire that night?
Yes.
What did you do?
I called my twin sister. I called some of her friends that I know.
She called
That is
twin
close by.
sister and some of her
From
friends.
Neziah, heard from Neziah.
Girl, really?
And when I reached out to her, she said no. Her friend said no. So after that, I asked my mom, did she want me to call police? She said no, she will take it up in the morning.
Take it up in the morning. Goodness.
Shannon, did you know Desire to have a pair of red and black Nike shoes?
Yes.
And if I showed you a picture of them, would you be able to identify them?
Yes.
Senator, may I approach? Yes. And for the record, this is going to be from people supposed to get 14, and it'll be picture 34. Do you recognize these shoes?
Yes, that's a pair of shoes that my mom bought for to her birthday.
Okay, thank you. Now, back on the 9th, you said, your mom was going to file a police report in the morning.
Correct.
Okay, did you go with her to file a police report in the morning?
No, it was my oldest sister.
Did you do anything on the 10th as it relates to trying to find Desire?
Yes, we went out, I and some others went out to go get some pictures, made copies. We went to other stores, passed out flyers, and everything that we need to do. That what was asked of us to do.
Since January 9th, 2024, have you seen Desire?
No.
Have you, since January 9th, 2024, have you heard from Desire?
No.
Nothing further this time, Judge.
Ms. Harris, I also have some questions for you. You and Mr. Butts have been, or you've known him for about 12 years?
Correct.
And fair to say that you were in a dating relationship with him for most of that time?
Correct.
but towards the end, like last year, it was more off and on. They're saying
No, it was on and off for years.
for years, okay. But you have 5 children with him?
Correct.
What's wrong with his eyes? Bad in the back and
Even
forth.
towards the end when it was on, it was a sexual relationship, right?
Correct.
Sometimes you go to a hotel to have sex with him,
Correct. Yes.
and that hotel was the Park Creston.
Or the Short Point.
There's more than one,
Multiples, yes.
but one of them was the Park Crest. Said yes,
Correct.
and it's in Harper Woods
Correct.
on Harper.
Correct.
Do you know if Mr. Butts, or do you suspect that Mr. Butts has taken other women to those motels also?
Correct.
You do.
Mm.
I believe you said that you have, of your 5 children with him, 2 are girls
Yes.
and 3 are boys.
Correct.
Okay, I had that wrong.
And
So
in
she got
January,
3 boys and 2 girls.
this time, January 2023, you were living with your mother on Bedford, correct?
Correct.
Prior to that, were you living in Clinton Township?
Correct.
When did you leave the Clinton Township home and move to the Bedford home?
October 23.
And so there were times when you were in Clinton Township that Mr. Butts would travel out there to see the kids.
Correct.
And then when you moved to the Bedford address, he would go to the Bedford address to see the kids.
Correct.
And then the Bedford address is when Messiah was also living there, correct?
Correct.
And I believe you just testified that on January the 9th, you were living at that house.
Correct.
And you were there during the day.
Correct.
And so were you one of the first people that realized that Messiah did not come home when she was expected to be home?
Well, I didn't realize it until I had got a question. By the other kids had asked did I have Messiah came home yet or have I seen her? And I said no.
Do you remember what time that was in the afternoon?
That was in the evening. My mom picked them up 6 o'clock.
So that was about 3 hours later than she normally should have been home.
Correct.
Was that surprising?
Yes, it was. One, we thought that she was at the after school program. But it didn't dawn on no one until my mom came back to the house and she wasn't here or she wasn't in the car when they had got in the car.
So when you all realized that she wasn't at school and she wasn't at home, was that surprising?
Yes.
But you didn't go to the police that night?
No.
Didn't go no police,
She ever
no
not
ma'am.
returned previously?
No, this is her first time ever doing this.
Did she have friends in the neighborhood that she would go visit?
Yes.
And you said, are those the folks that you contacted to ask?
Yes.
You were just shown a pair of red and black Nike shoes, right?
Correct.
And you identified those shoes as being Messiah's shoe. Is that correct?
Correct.
It's a shoe that looks like the shoe that Messiah's wearing, correct?
Correct. Correct.
You can't say for sure that that exact
Yes.
shoe came from Messiah, is that fair to say?
Correct.
And I think you testified that very rarely would you ever use text now to contact Mr. Butts.
Right.
Only if your phone was turned off.
Right.
And that was not very often.
Right.
Would Messiah ever have access to your phone to use it?
Yes, like she would ask, hey, TT, can I see your phone? Sure, I wouldn't mind, yes.
And so would she text from that phone?
Probably, yes.
Did you ever notice any text from
No.
her on your phone?
No.
Did you ever notice that she had used your Text Now app?
No, the only time when I would notice something is say me and Jarvis would, we won't be on the same page seeing eye to eye. And I will call him and he said, why you will call me, or like, why you continue to keep calling me? And I would say, I haven't called you all day or in 2 days. Then I will go ask my kids, like, hey, are y'all calling my dad? Because I haven't called him.
And until you looked in Desaia's Instagram account, did you ever notice anything on your phone that caused you to be concerned?
No.
Between Desaya and Mr. Lutz?
No.
And Mr. Lutz, we said would come to the house to see his kids. He would drop them off at the house sometimes. He would take them places.
Yes.
He would pick Janiyah up from there.
No, he, depending on like if he will pick up the kids, if I need him to pick up the kids from the pickup or drop off spot, for school, he will do that, yeah.
And then take them either to Clinton Township when you live there, or to the Bedford Street address.
Correct.
Okay. But most times he would come to the house, right?
He will come to the house, he will call me first before he will come.
Would he come into the house physically, or would he sit in his truck outside?
50%. He will sit in the car and wait till the kids come outside, or he will knock on the door.
Would he be in the house currently?
Only if I'm inside the house.
Like he was visiting with you?
Yes.
So you never knew a time that Mr. Butts would have been alone in the house with Desaya?
No.
Well,
Can't
how
think
he
of a
was
time
still in
when
her
he
panties?
had been in the house and went down to the basement with her,
No.
or any other room in the house alone?
No.
Would Mr. Butts have ever been at that house if another adult, like you or your mother, weren't there?
He will, look, you said,
Would Mr. Butts ever be at the house if you or your mother weren't there?
no, it will be me or another person.
The idea that anything was going on between Mr. Butts and Desaya is shocking to you, right?
Correct.
You had no idea.
No.
You never noticed anything between Desaya and Mr. Butts that made you concerned?
No.
You never saw any inappropriate behavior?
Not at all.
You didn't notice Mr. Butts paying any special attention to her?
No.
Certainly, if you had noticed that, that would have caused you concern.
Yeah, it would have raised a whole bunch of red flags.
Likely, you wouldn't have invited him into the house, correct?
Correct.
You found it hard to believe even that Mr. Butts would hurt Messiah.
But I won't know, I don't know, what he will do if a person's back is up against the wall.
But the thought of that was hard for you, at least at one point, to be correct?
Correct.
She don't know
Now,
what a person would
during this
do if
time,
they back was against the wall.
he's had children with other women,
Correct.
pretty consistently with other women,
Correct.
more than one woman.
Correct.
Some of those women you actually knew about, correct?
Correct.
They lived kind of even in the same neighborhood on the east side.
Correct.
But you suspect that there were women that you didn't know about?
Correct.
Even one that lived, or more than one that lived over on the west side?
Correct.
You believe he was going out there to see somebody around the end of 2023, January 2024?
Correct.
Before January the 9th, you had a conversation with Desaya about a location on Outer Drive in Belfort,
Yes.
and that was surprising to you, right?
Correct.
That's on the east side of Detroit.
Yes.
Did you end up giving her directions on how to get to that location?
Yes.
Why did you give her directions?
I was.
Peppers, this the part that I was telling you when Nazaya called her and was asking her about directions as if she was doing a project at the school. Check this out.
just getting out the shower and just getting myself together. She asked me, she said, "Hey, Titi," she said, "where is Balfour and Honor Drive?" And I told her, I said, "You know exactly where Balfour and Honor Drive at." I said, "Honor Drive is right where the wine basket at." And I said, "You know where Balfour at?" And she was like, "I get Balfour and Bedford mixed up." So I said, "You already know Balfour is before Bedford." So she said, "Okay." She said, "Because we are in school and we are learning about our surroundings." So I said, "Okay." But that was the only two things that she had asked, was where was Honor Drive and Balfour at.
Does that location have any special significance to you?
No.
Do you know anybody at that location?
No, the only thing that I'm used to, I'm familiarized with just picking up Jarvis out of Drive and Balfour. It's just on the corner.
On a corner?
Mm-hmm.
Not at an address?
Not an address.
When was this conversation that you had about that location? Do you recall?
This was right before Nasiah went missing.
Like how soon before? Weeks?
Maybe like it was still like in that same week she went missing.
Mr. Butts didn't have his own vehicle, fair to say?
No, he didn't.
He generally used
His female vehicles.
Did you know Mr. Butts to park at one location and then walk to another to kind of try to remain undetected?
Pretty much, yes.
So would it be not out of the ordinary for you to have to pick him up at a random or what seemed to be a random location to you?
Correct.
You lived with Nasiah for, you said, from about October until January the 9th.
Correct.
So you spent a lot of time around her?
Yes.
You knew her mannerisms?
Yes.
Her demeanor?
Yes.
Her moods?
Yes.
Did anything strike you as out of the ordinary about how she was acting at any point in time in December or January before she disappeared?
No, Nasiah, nothing has changed her character, none of that. She was just the same old Nasiah. Nothing is different.
Nasiah is a brother, right?
Yes.
Is it an older brother?
Yes.
Now, he had run away in 2023, is that right?
Yes.
Even something that had bothered her or something that she was dealing with at the time could cause a change in her demeanor. So she did have a brother that ran away.
Correct.
And was that something that she struggled with?
She didn't like the fact that her brother was running away. Yes, she didn't like it.
Around the same time, around the time December, January, was her mother supposed to come visit, her biological mother?
Yes.
Did she end up coming to see Nasiah?
Yes.
She did. Did Nasiah seem to have some big emotions about that contact?
Yes.
Just complicated, fair to say?
Yes.
Did she talk to you about that?
All the time.
Did you notice anything? You said you didn't notice anything in a change in mood. So,
No.
what about physically?
No.
I don't have anything else, thank you.
Did you go to the Clark Crest Inn on January 9th, 2024?
No. No.
And fair to say, you knew of Mr. Butts having other female friends?
Yes.
Okay. And even some that you didn't know.
Yeah, that'll make you sound like what? Because it's a mess.
You didn't always know what Mr. Butts was doing?
No.
That man was a horse.
Every minute of the day?
No.
And a predator. He had multiple
Did
women.
you know him to, one of those cars that he used, did you know him to have a white Escalade type truck?
Correct. Yes.
Well, she just said that he didn't have no vehicle of his own.
About Outer Drive and Bell. Fair to say, from what I gathered, the only connection you have to that area is Jarvis Box.
Correct.
Okay, so he's the only one you would associate with that area.
Correct.
Y'all bitches in trouble. How that judge looking?
And you knew Mr. Butts to have other children?
Correct.
Okay, and you knew him to have clearly gotten other women pregnant?
Correct.
And to your knowledge, were all those women adults?
To my knowledge, yes.
Did he, to you, ever hide getting another woman pregnant?
No.
Nothing really
All right, we going to the grandmother's testimony. This is the little girl's grandmother. This is her testimony. Let's hear what she got to say.
Putting the mic and putting the laptop.
Okay.
Thank you. Could you say your name correctly?
And then Harris.
And Ms. Harris, do you know someone or did you know someone by the name of Neziah Harris?
Yes.
And who is Neziah to you?
My granddaughter.
Are you her legal guardian?
Yes, I am.
When did you become her legal guardian?
I adopted Messiah back in 2016.
And that was court work or paperwork filed and all that to legally adopt her?
Yes, it took a process.
Oh.
Yes.
They what he asked you.
Back in January of 2024, did Neziah live with you?
Yes.
I don't want to know the specific address, but what street did you live on?
Bedford.
And is that in the city of Detroit, Wayne County?
Yes, it is.
How long had Neziah been living with you at that address on Bedford?
Oh, wow. Yeah, basically, ever since I had her.
Since 2016?
Well, we moved to another house.
Okay, when did you move into the Bedford house?
Let me see. 2019, we moved in that house and then moved in the house that I am now, which is still on Bedford.
Okay. And did Neziah make those moves with you?
Yes.
And in January of 2024, at that Bedford location, who else lived there?
Just me, the kids. My other daughter lived with me at the other address. But it was just basically me and my kids and Shannon.
And who is she?
Now see how she told that goddamn lie? Because Shannon been living with her practically, basically, all of her life. Due to the fact that this lady here is a foster mom. You know you're not supposed to have other people in your home. Or you got 10 days to report if somebody else is in your home. This lady is collecting government fundings and different things off of all those kids that she got in her house. And she's being a poor foster mom, if you ask me, the way it looks to me. Now listen to her testimony and watch all the holes that's gonna be poked in her story from Shannon's story. Now listen to this.
My daughter,
And what's her last name?
Harris,
And she lived with you and Desire and the other kids at the Bedford location?
at the First Bedford location.
At that
Just told a damn lie. That girl just said that she lived with her mom.
In addition to Desire lived there.
My other two, my grandson and my other grandchildren.
So how many kids total in that house?
6, children 6.
And you and Shannon, correct?
Well,
Living there.
Shannon, she was there, but she wasn't really like there all the time. She would spend more majority of her time at my house, but actually Shannon had her place out in Clinton Township.
Just lying.
And when you were there, in January of 24, how old was Desire at that time?
January 24th, she had 13. She had her birthday in September.
And was she going to school?
Yes, she was.
What school did she attend?
J.E. Clark Preparatory Academy.
And is that also in Detroit?
Yes, it is.
Just generally, can you tell us about your morning routine with the kids, specifically as I am getting them to school and things like that?
Sure. Okay. 6 a.m. That's when I get the children up. They usually get up, get dressed, prepare themselves. About 7:15, 7:20, we're basically saying prayer and we load them up in the car. I'm dropping them off at school at 7:30. Breakfast starts at 7:30, and they like to eat breakfast at school.
And does that include Nizai? You drop her off at J.E. Clark?
All together, yes.
Now, I want to talk about, let me ask it this way. Did you know someone by the name of Jarvis Butts?
Yes.
And do you see Mr. Butts in the courtroom today?
Why she lied if she don't see
If you need to stand up and look around.
Look how everybody looking at her.
Do you need glasses?
Yeah, my daughter has my glasses.
Okay, Judge, may I take one with my baby glasses?
Yes.
May I approach the witness?
Thank you.
If you could just stand up and take another look.
Okay. Yes.
Do you see Mr. Butts in the courtroom today? Can you point to him and identify a piece of clothing that he's wearing?
Uniform with the blue mask.
For the record, the witness has identified Jarvis Butts in the chat in this matter. And may I approach the witness again?
Yeah.
I'm approaching with what's already been admitted as People's 9. And Ms. Harris, do you recognize the person in that photo?
Yes.
And who is that person?
Jarvis Butts.
And is that the same person you've identified in court here today?
Yes.
And Ms. Harris, how did you know Mr. Butts back in January of 2024?
He's the father of my daughter's children.
And is that daughter Shannon Harris?
Yes.
How many kids do they have together?
5.
And would he come around your house on Bedford in January or the months leading up to January?
Whenever he did come, he would always pull up in a white truck, and Shannon would go out to the car, and they would sit and talk or whatever. But
well, they trying to get a petition done to remove those kids out that house. They need to remove them out the house.
that you saw?
What a lioness.
Not that I remember, no.
Okay. Now I want to talk specifically about January 9th. You had described your morning routine with the kids. Did you follow that routine on January 9th?
Yes, I did.
And did that include dropping Messiah off at J.E. Clark 7:15 to 7:30?
Yes.
And can you tell us what she was wearing on January 9th, 2024?
Yes, she was wearing a pair of light powdered blue jeans with a light powdered blue jacket that had the black little fur around the collar. It was like a two-piece set.
And did she have a sweater on or a shirt on or something?
She had a shirt. She wore a shirt underneath it.
And you remember, did she have any other clothes with her on the 9th when you dropped her off?
She had her little blue sweatshirt with a little hoodie. She had that with her.
And do you know how or when she got that?
Now, didn't the daughter testify a while ago and said that the little girl left the house with a jacket with cartoon characters and stuff on it? Now, listen what she's saying.
I bought that hoodie for her. I guess it was in the fall sometime when I bought it when I first. I mean, it wasn't nothing new. It was just one of her old hoodie jacket she used when she go to the gym.
Okay. And in terms of, if you know, the condition
My
of that
ass.
hoodie on the 9th, was it torn, ripped, damaged in any way?
No.
She said she left with a black hoodie on.
Kind of like still look, because she took pretty good care of her things.
Mm-hmm. Okay, Christian.
Yeah.
I'm approaching with people's proposed exhibit 12. Ms. Harris, do you recognize what I just handed you?
Yes.
And is that a picture of Messiah?
Yes.
And do you know when that picture was taken?
The same day, January the 9th, she took this picture.
Oh, move to admit people's proposed 12.
Any objection?
No objection.
It would be admitted as people's exhibit 12.
And when you dropped Messiah off at J.E. Clark, what was the routine supposed to be after school was over?
Okay, well, school is over, the bell rings at 2:40. Isaiah was due to come home. And normally when the bell rings 2:40, 2:45, she's getting on the bus.
And was that's what she normally did on other days?
Mm-hmm.
Is that a yes?
Yes, I'm sorry.
And
yes.
what time would she normally arrive back at home?
The designer would be walking in through the door maybe 3:05, no later than that.
And on January 9th, did she walk in at 3:05?
No, she did not.
And were you home when she didn't come home?
I was there for a little while, but I left out to run some errands. But no, when I got to the house, she was not.
You left to go run some errands. Why you ain't go to the police department? Everywhere but there, right? Okay, let's keep going.
Not there.
And at that time, did you have a conversation with someone else about her not coming home, Isaiah not coming home?
Yeah, when I picked my children up from the after school program, I went in and my daughter said,
I'll rephrase the question.
Okay, so second.
Just talking about what you saw and heard, and not asking for what anybody said, but did you talk to Shannon, your daughter?
yes,
about
Shannon said she was not there.
She said,
when you got home that day on the 9th, was Messiah there?
No.
And did you eventually make a police report about her missing?
Yes, I did. Yes,
And when did you do that?
that morning when I got to school, I went up to.
that morning, did you make a police report? Yes, that morning. Check this out.
Dropped the kids off to school. I talked with the dean and the principal, and I told them that I was on my way to the police station, and they told me that they would call the police and the police.
Okay. You talked to the dean. Why you didn't just go to the police department, lady, about your child? Because at this point, she was your child. She was in your custody. You went to bed and slept wonderful. You didn't give a fuck about a kid. A 13-year-old kid, which is your kid. You went to the school and told them. Like they really give a fuck. It wasn't their kid.
DPS police came there.
And you said DPS, is that Detroit Public Schools?
Yeah.
And did you talk to an officer?
Sound dumb as fuck.
At that time at the school?
Yes, I did.
And was that at J.E. Clark physically at that location?
Yes.
And you said that.
Your ass going to jail, lady.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Was Neziah active on social media, if you know?
Well, as far as I know, she was.
You know she was.
She was sneaking on it, you know. But yeah, she was.
Okay. And did you keep track of her social media pages like TikTok or Facebook or anything like that?
I tried. A lot of times, you know, I would take her phone and stuff from her, you know, so, you know, to keep her from being on there, you know.
And after the 9th, did you ever see any posts made by Neziah?
I didn't see any posts. Most of the time, you know, if there was a post or something, or she posts, my daughter or someone would call me and tell me.
Have you ever heard after the 9th, any communication or seen Neziah?
Mm-hmm.
When, is that a no?
No.
And when you dropped her off on the 9th at school at J.E. Clark, was that the last time you saw her?
Yes.
They have a home there?
Yes.
Just to follow up, I did forget to ask this. Her bus stop, how far from your house was that in walking distance?
5 minutes.
Do you know where the location that she got dropped off at was, the address or the intersection?
Right there, the 3 Mile Drive in Cornwall.
And that's 5 minutes from your house?
Yeah.
And did Neziah have any nicknames that people called her?
Where her family called her, Tilly. But I've always called her Glamorous. I've been calling her ever since she was born.
Say Glamour.
Glamorous.
Oh. Okay, one more thing.
Tilly. Mm-hmm.
I really think that's it.
Good morning.
Now, you are Neziah's maternal grandmother, correct?
Correct.
You're also her adopted parent, correct?
Correct.
And you said you adopted her in 2016?
Yeah. Should have been, yeah, 16.
Okay. Is her birth mother still around?
She is.
Okay, does she have a relationship with her?
No.
She doesn't have any type of relationship, no contact with her that you know of?
Well, let me say this. I don't deal with my daughter, so she really didn't have really no contact with Neziah like that. She only came around now and then.
Let's run that back right there.
Just
That's a little bit.
Stop. How far from your house was that in walking distance?
5 minutes.
Do you know where the location that she got dropped off at was?
It wasn't an ammo alert or none of that done. Because they didn't report it. And then she said that she reported it to the school. Tell me why they didn't report nothing until 2 months to a month later. You gonna hear it. Just watch this. Now, why were you reported to the school? You should have went reported. It's not their job to report your kid. You should have reported it first. She didn't even report it at all. It could have been a hold on this if she had just went and reported. Didn't want to.
Does I have any nicknames that people call her?
Where her family called her, Tootie. But I've always called her Glamorous. I've been calling her that ever since she was born.
Say Glamour?
Glamorous.
Oh. We have one more picture.
You said two?
Tootie.
Good.
Mm-hmm.
I know.
It really, I'm telling you now. I told you it's sick.
Good morning.
Now, you are Nazia's maternal grandmother, correct?
Correct.
You're also her adopted parent, correct?
Correct.
Now watch what she say. Listen to this.
Yeah. She was 16.
Okay. Is her birth mother still around?
She is.
Okay, does she have a relationship with her?
No.
She doesn't have any type of relationship, no contact with her that you know of?
Well, let me say this. I don't deal with my daughter, so she really didn't have really no contact with Nazia like that. She only came around now and then.
And you testified that you currently stay on Bedford Street?
Yes.
And in fact, I think you testified you lived on 2 houses on Bedford Street.
Correct.
And did not Nazia have friends on Bedford Street that you were aware of?
She had friends, but her friends didn't live on Bedford.
Okay. Do you know if she ever had any friends over?
No.
Did she ever sense the night of any of these friends' houses?
No.
And at your prior neighborhood, did she have friends that she may have spent the night over?
No.
You indicated that there are approximately 6 children in the house.
Well,
And that's her damn lies. Shanna got 5, and she got Nazia and the brother. That's 7. She lied there.
I lived at 2 houses, which is on the same street in Bedford. Okay, so the house that we lived in before, it was my children and my daughter's children.
Your daughter being Shannon?
No, Marquita.
Marquita, okay. And did Nazia have any close relationship with any of these children particularly?
She was close with my granddaughter, one of my granddaughters, yeah.
Which granddaughter is that?
Nazia, Janiyah. All of their names are similar.
Bitch, ain't shit funny about that. Ass to me. Oh, Lord Jesus. Oh,
Yes.
Jesus.
That would be Jarvis's daughter as well, correct?
Correct.
And at your Bedford Street address, how many adults live there?
Just me and Shannon.
Okay. When did Shannon move
I'm sorry.
in? When did Shannon move in to Bedford?
it's been a lie.
Back in October, last October or something.
That would be October of 23.
Yeah.
So in January of 24, she was there, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, is that yes?
Yes. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And you indicated that Nazia participated in social media?
She did participate in social media. She was on social media a lot of times when she wasn't supposed to be.
So did you see her post or did you follow her post?
I didn't see her really posting anything. I mean, at times when I did check, I didn't find anything.
Okay.
And most of the time, if she did post something, my daughter's gonna let me know, if she posted something.
So you don't know who her social media friends were?
The only person that I know that was one of her classmates that she would post little things with one of her little classmates.
But it's fair to say there are some things you did not know.
Yeah, well, something, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Now, you indicated that you drove Desire to school every day, correct?
Correct.
Who else went to school in Desire?
My other two children, Shannon's children.
And what type of student was Desire?
Desire was a very good student, very memorable, very outgoing. She got good grades. Her attendance was good. The teachers had no problem with her. They really liked Desire. Desire got along with just about anybody. She was very likable.
Did she have any disciplinary problems?
No.
Do you recall her ever getting into a fight?
She did.
One fight, more than one fight?
There was a young lady that she had a couple of, consultations with in school. And it was like an ongoing situation.
Okay. And when did this first start?
I'm not quite sure when it started, but it was like off and on, with this particular schoolmate that she had.
And this is for her current school, right?
Yes.
Okay. Now, did Desire participate in any extracurricular activities? Was she band or anything?
She liked it. Gym, robotics, art. I mean, she liked a lot of things that she was, in love in,
And would any of these things cause her to have stayed after school?
The only time she stayed after school was when she wanted to be enrolled in the after school program.
I just want to step back a moment. We asked you about her social media. You said there were some things that you weren't aware of on social media, correct? Did you ever check her direct messages?
Like I said, I did, but when I did, there was nothing on that.
There was nothing.
No.
Okay. Did you monitor any of her conversations?
Yeah. I would, go check,
That late
But
morning.
like I said, a lot of times, I took Nazai's tablet, from her, at one point, so there was really nothing that I knew of that she was on unless she got somebody's cell phone or something,
So you did mention that she had a tablet. How many devices did she have that allowed her to connect to social media?
She only had that one tablet that I had bought her. And like I said, I took that tablet and put that tablet up.
So on January 9th, you took her to school, correct?
Correct.
And you said it was her and two of your other children that went to school?
my two other children and my daughter's children. I dropped them all off.
And you said that you noticed that she did not come home at her normal time.
Correct.
All right. You did not call the police then, correct?
No. Driving around looking for her. My daughter reached out to some of her classmates. I did nothing. And that morning, I got up, and like I said, I went straight to the school. And from there, I was on my way to police station to make the report. And
Showing no emotions or nothing.
DPS police came to the school.
So the first report you made to police was the next morning?
Yes.
You know approximately what time?
School starts at 7:30, so I got there at 7:30. They got there about, I don't know, maybe 8.
So you did go to the precinct, you went to the school, and the school called.
Yes, they called the police because I was really ready to leave, and the dean said, no, stay here. She said, we'll call the police.
Okay. Now, you mentioned that you are familiar with Mr. Butts, correct?
I know Mr. Butts.
Okay. And he dated your daughter Shannon, correct?
Correct.
They did have 5 children, correct?
Correct.
And the children, did all the children stay with you and Shannon?
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, without, I don't want to give too much detail on the kids. What were the mix of boys and girls?
Can you repeat that?
What were the mix of the kids, boys and girls?
Well, I have a boy and girl, and Shannon has her 3 boys and her 2 girls.
So she had 3 boys and the 2 girls. Okay. And at any time, now I think you did indicate that Mr. Butts would come over and I think you said he would rarely come in, correct?
Mm-hmm.
But he would come in on occasion, correct?
Not really on occasions, because most of the time when he came in, he would pull up in my driveway, and my daughter
Watch
would
the
go
line.
to the truck, and a lot of times the kids will go out to the truck. So it was very rare if he ever came in my house.
And you indicated that you were close with Neziah?
Yes.
Can you think of any reason that Neziah would not share information with you?
No. Neziah would come to me and talk to me all the time. If something was bothering her, or if she had a bad day in school, she'll come to me and we'll sit and talk about it. I always kept the door open for communication with Neziah and with really all of my children. So she always felt free, to come to me and sit down and talk to me about whatever.
So if something was frustrating Neziah, she would come with you?
She would, that I know of, yes.
Right, if something was scaring Neziah, she would come to you?
If something was bothering her or she was frustrated about something, she'll come to me and say, hey, Nana, can I talk to you?
If there was any medical condition, she would come to you regarding that?
I believe she would, yes.
You take her to the hospital, take her to the doctor?
Yes.
Okay. Just a moment.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. I have no further questions.
Can you redirect?
Ms. Harris, I just have a couple more questions for you.
Mm-hmm.
When Mr. Bridges asked you questions, you said that Mr. Butts would come and sit in his car, right, outside your house?
Yes.
And you said that the kids would go out to the car.
Yes.
Which kids would go out to the car?
His kids.
Would Neziah ever go with his kids out to the car?
If Shannon was out there, she would.
And Mr. Reagan also asked you about the tablet that you bought for Desire.
Yes.
Remember those questions?
Yes.
And when, if you can remember, narrow that down, when did you buy that tablet for her?
I bought that tablet for her one Christmas. I think it was in 22 when I bought that tablet, at the end of 22 when I bought that tablet for her.
So December of 22.
Yeah, I think when I bought that tablet.
So she would have had that tablet for roughly just over a year, then, correct?
Correct. Mm-hmm.
And did Desire also have access to a cell phone?
The only cell phone she had access to was one of the cell phones when my oldest daughter came to visit me. She gave to Nazire, but she could only use it by Wi-Fi.
You said your oldest daughter, is that Desire's
Mother. Yes.
Okay. And through, what's your oldest daughter's name?
Kenya Harris.
Through Kenyatta Harris, Desire got access to the phone?
Mm-hmm.
Is that yes?
Yes.
Mr. Reagan also asked you about Desire staying after school. You said that there was an after-school program she was involved in?
Yes.
On January 9th and in January of 24, was she still involved in that program?
No, I took her out of it because she was having problems with one of her schoolmates at that time. The same person that he asked me about before that she didn't get along with.
The same person Mr. Reagan asked you?
Absolutely.
And so on the 9th, she was not supposed to stay after school?
No, she was supposed to come straight home.
And when she didn't come home, you said that you were driving around looking for her,
Yeah,
correct?
yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit more about what efforts you made on the 9th to locate her?
When I went to school to go pick my son and daughter up because they were also in the after-school program, picked them up, went back to the house. I thought she was there, and when I got to the house and I found out that she wasn't there, I got back in the car and I went back up to the school. And by that time, nobody was there. Nobody was at the school. So now, I'm kind of like, I'm frustrated. Now I'm going like, because whenever she wants to stay after school or do something, she would always call me. Hey, Nana, can I stay after school? Or she would call one of her TTs, hey, TT, can I stay after school? So that wasn't like her. So I'm really frustrated now. So now I'm going
frustrated enough to go to the police. You didn't go to the police.
I'm gonna stop you right there because I don't want to go into what anybody else said.
Okay.
But you went back to the school, nobody was at school, you went back to the house, Desire still not there, correct?
Correct.
Did you go back out looking for her after that?
I did.
Where did you go?
I was driving around in the neighborhood, everywhere. I'm just looking, just like hoping I'll see her,
Mm.
On the 9th, when you were looking for her, well, let me ask it this way. Did you know Desire to go to Mr. Butts' place of work to assist him with anything there?
Yes, there was a couple of times that she went with his daughter and they went up there to go clean up in the shop.
And how would they get there?
He would come and pick them up.
And was
Good
that
girl.
a truck that you talked about?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And did you know?
I went to prison with her hands now.
Yes.
Okay, do you know, where is that?
It was Frank's shop located on Warren, East Warren.
And is that the last place that you knew him to work? Or did you know him to work somewhere else?
I knew him to work there, and then the shop moved to a different location.
Did you know where that new location was?
Personally, no.
And did you ever, on the 9th, did you ever try and go to Mr. Watson's place of work to look for Ms. Aya?
On the 9th, no.
Nothing great.
Okay. We're gonna go to the business associate, that the guy that they partnership business with. And after that, I'm gonna cut ties for today, and then we'll come back tomorrow. Let's check this out.
You swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing
I do.
Watch your step.
And he in a jumpsuit too.
He spelled his first name.
Cordell.
Let me give context to this guy here. Jarvis Butts and King here. This guy here, they had a auto repair place that they worked together as business partners. So he finna give the rundown that Naziah come to the shop that day. Matter of fact, they was going to the auto parts store, and he stated, "There go my niece right there." And he was like, "Where?" And he was like, "There she is right there, going across the street or walk across the street." So he stopped and picked her up. Let's run it.
Good morning, Mr. Wright.
Good morning.
And Mr. Wright, do you have a nickname?
Yes.
And what's your nickname?
King.
Is that King?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. How old are you?
37.
When's your birthday?
11/17.
Oh, what year?
86.
And Mr. Wright, back in January 2024, were you on a MDOC tether?
Yes, I was.
And what dates were you on tether from?
From March 14th, 23 to March 28th, 24.
And what were your other restrictions back then?
I could leave the house from 6 in the morning. I had to be back in by 9 p.m.
Mr. Wright, do you know someone named Jarvis Butts?
Yes, I do.
What he's stating right now is that he's on a teller, which is an anchor monitor, stating that he can come out at 6 and he have to be back in at 9 at the time of this situation, what he about to discuss. Come out the way, Ma. Come over here.
How do you know Jarvis Butts?
I first met him, we worked together at a shop called Frank's. And then we owned the shop together.
And do you see Jarvis Butts in the photo today?
No.
Come on now, I'm on the thing.
Were you able to stand up so you can look around?
Yes. No.
When did you meet Mr. Butts?
2018.
And you said you two worked together initially at a place called Frank's.
Frank's.
Where is Frank's at?
He has a couple locations. He has 7, but the one I met him at was on Warren and Neff.
Okay. And what locations of Frank's did you work at with Mr. Butts?
Warren and Neff.
Yes. Mr. Wright, I'm approaching full proposed exhibits 4, 5, and 6. Can you look at these and tell me if you recognize those?
I recognize this one, and this one.
And those are those a fair and accurate depiction of Frank's Auto Shops? At least 2 of them on Warren and the other one maybe on Harper?
Yes,
Okay, which is the one that's on Harper?
the last one on the inside.
Okay, and that's People's Exhibit, proposed exhibit 6?
Yes.
Okay, you're not even for the admission of People's 4, 5, and 6? Okay.
You'll get rid of People's Exhibits 4, 5, and 6.
Thank you, Judge. How long did you work at Frank's with Mr. Buck?
Few years.
About how many years did you estimate?
2.
And when did that change from Frank's to another shop?
Maybe in 23 sometime.
Okay. Would it be earlier in the year or later in the year?
Maybe maybe May. Well, maybe April, May.
And then where did you guys work then?
We got a shop together on 9,000 Connor.
And what is at 9,000 Connor?
A Sicko, car wash, and our shop is in the middle of both.
Remember the address?
Yes.
Straight, I'm handing you this mark of people proposed exhibits 7 and 8. Can you look at those? And you tell me if you recognize them.
Yes, I don't know.
And are those a fair and accurate depiction of your shop at 9,000 Connor?
Yes, it is.
And you're not with the admission of people's proposed exhibits 7 and 8.
Okay. You'll get rid of People's Exhibits 7 and 8.
Thank you. Who did you, and who was it that you mainly worked with at?
I'm sorry,
Who was it that you worked with at 9,000 Connor?
Jarvis.
I want to take you back to when you were working at Frank's with Mr. Butts. Did you ever see Mr. Butts with any children there?
Yes,
And specifically, did you see with any young girl children?
yes,
And did you know who those were?
yes.
Who were they? Who were they?
His daughter, his niece,
Daughters and niece? What are any boys?
yes.
And who were they?
His sons,
How often would you see him with children there at Frank's?
sporadically,
And at 9,000 Connor, did you see Mr. Butts with any children then?
yes,
Any girls?
yes.
And who would they be?
His daughter,
And what about any boys?
yes.
Who would they be?
His sons,
And how often would you see him with children at 9,000 Connor?
sporadic,
And as it relates to this case, it's fair to say that you spoke with Detroit Police a few times,
yes, about 4.
about 4 times. Okay. That first time that you talked to Detroit Police, do you recall about when that was?
The first time was the day before Valentine's Day, so like February 13th.
February 13th, and is that 2024?
Yes,
All right, and at that time, were you presented with a jail phone?
yes.
And who was that jail phone with?
Jarvis,
Okay, and who was he talking to?
me,
What was the topic of that jail phone?
he called and asked would I receive a cell phone out of a truck phone.
And were you familiar with what truck he was asking you to get it from?
Yes.
What truck was that?
It was a Z71 Chevy Suburban.
And did you know who that truck belonged to?
Yeah, his baby mom or somebody's.
And do you recall listening to that vehicle?
Yeah, I recall.
Okay. If I would move to admit the jail call from, I believe it's February 8th, 2024, between Mr. Wright and Mr. Jefferson. No objection. What is exhibit number one? Sorry, that's exhibit number one. Thank you. And may I publish? Yes, I can publish. Thank you. And for the record, I am playing people's exhibit one.
That's it.
This is a 1.3 minutes call from the and you may have Woody County Jail. Your phone is not collect call. This call has been provided by Kelly as a courtesy for friends and family. You cannot receive additional calls from the station until this call appreciated. We can take your credit or debit card information over the phone and connect you immediately back to your phone. This call is subject to recording and monitoring. Press 1 to accept all communications from this. Thank you for using Sony.
My guy, what's up, man?
Not shit, man. What's up?
Not shit, man. How you feeling? My bad, I missed your call. I was working like a motherfucker.
They said you just did bad. They said something, man.
Yeah, you know it.
His
you know it.
voice. Man. Ooh.
What's up, bro?
You know it.
And shit. Man, I'm calling, man. Because they put my money on my fucking books, bro.
Oh, yeah, take a minute for to put that shit on there. Even if you walk in with it, man, they be playing it crazy.
Yeah,
I swear to God. Hey, you guys were saying this shit. You so you straight to me? I mean, I'm not gonna come out for that.
I put I have money on my books, nigga. I came in with money.
He came in with money. That big thing, he came in with money.
$0. That's some bullshit.
That shit crazy. How is it though?
Man, this is bullshit. I'm gonna be quarantined on this whole shit, man.
Oh yeah, they got you on that 14 club for how long? 3 days?
I don't know how long, man. Shit, I'm saying. Oh, I'm about to be the only one in this bitch on my part.
You say what happened?
I said, shit, I'm about to be the number here to get you know, this one talking to me on these people is on this bitch.
Okay.
Yeah, so.
What you did?
Huh?
No, I was asking what that customer needs. Man, listen.
You straight?
Yeah.
I said, yeah, I'm good, oh, shit, yeah. You got Tasha number, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I need you to call her.
Tasha's another baby mama.
Get my phone out of that back seat, bro.
Oh man. All right. Well, I'm going to the truck with the level tell it.
So you got truck around the lost car that you're doing was moving radio. We have 1 minute remaining for this call. Reach behind that back seat.
Yeah.
So you reach behind that back seat, bro. Approximately straight behind the middle of that back seat, bro.
Okay, under it or in the back or in the back?
In the back, like right in the back of the seat, bro.
Okay. You know you took the key. You took the key to the gate.
It's the same key.
I don't got that key to it.
Yeah, you do. It's the same key to the lock and the door.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that. All right.
Yeah, it's the same key, bro.
Well, you know I got those.
his ass off the phone.
No, I don't need it though. If you said the same one, I got it. So I don't need it right now anyway. This is why I get the strap out of there. Okay.
And Mr. Wright, were you successful in getting that cell phone from the vehicle like Mr. Bud asked you to?
She came up there, but no, I wasn't successful. It wasn't there.
Wasn't there?
When we say she,
Tasha.
And who's Tommy that you know of?
His baby mom.
Okay. Did you look for it in the vehicle?
Yeah, I looked for it.
Okay. You were unsuccessful in finding it.
Yes.
And Richard, I want to talk to you now about the second time that you were speaking with Detroit Police. Was that he heard that was just a couple days after your first time?
It was not long, a few weeks maybe. I was off tether at that point, I believe.
And you recall talking about fixing a red Jaguar and going to Ypsilanti.
Yes, I do.
Tell me about how many times did you and Mr. Bucks go to Ypsilanti?
I believe it was either 2 or 3.
Mommy. Alright. And how did that come about? Who's red Jaguar is this?
My son's grandma. So she called, said she was having some problems with it and asked if we would come look at it, which is not unusual. We do house calls depending on the person and where it's located, but this is my son's grandma, so of course we're gonna make the exception. She called and said she was having problems with the car, asked if we would come look at it. We went and assessed the car at her house the first time. I think we made a minor repair there, not to the extent that it was the problem that she was having after the fact.
Okay. So, where is this red Jaguar located when you guys go out to see it?
It's in my son's grandma's driveway in Ypsilanti, off Michigan Avenue.
Alright. And who was with you out there that first time?
Jarvis.
Okay. Just you and Jarvis Butts?
Yes.
Okay. So you guys go out there and you assess, make a minor repair.
Yeah.
Does it completely fix the car?
For that problem, yes.
And then is there another time that you end up having to do work on this red Jaguar?
Yes.
Okay. Tell me about that.
She drove the Jaguar for a while. It was doing fine. And then she said it was leaking something. I asked her what it was leaking. She said she didn't know. I asked her if she could get it towed to the shop. She said, yeah.
Okay. So at some point, this red Jaguar gets towed to your shop at 9,000 Connor?
Yes.
Okay. And who works on it at 9,000 Connor?
Me and Jarvis.
Okay. And what do you do when you finish fixing? Do you ever finish fixing the red Jaguar?
Yes.
Okay. And what do you do when you finish fixing it?
We take it back to her. I called her first and asked her how she was planning on retrieving the vehicle. She said she was going to tow it, and I didn't want to cost her no more money, so I told her that we could bring it.
Okay. And do you recall if that was on or about January 9th, 2024?
It was on.
It was on that day?
Yes.
Okay. So on that day, before you take the red Jaguar back, who was tell me about how that day started for you.
I woke up. I typically leave the house at 6 because that's the time I could leave. So I went to the gym. I got to the shop.
Okay.
Probably around.
I see you still there.
8:30. I don't know who.
We on the business partner testimony now.
A few cars came in, then the Jaguar probably got there maybe around 9 o'clock. I assessed the Jaguar. Jarvis left for a moment. I had another mechanic. Being it's a foreign car, so I had a foreign car mechanic on call to help with the work, but he was busy, so he came. Said he wouldn't have time to do it, so I think I Googled it, seen how it was done, and I proceeded taking the work on both.
Okay. So you're working on the Jaguar, and is Mr. Buck that worked that day?
Yes, he was there.
Okay. What do you guys, you and Mr. Butts, do as it relates to work that night?
I think we had a few cars that came in that needed some minor repairs. Between that and the Jaguar, we was jumping in and out of the Jaguar job, and the cars that could pull it up, maybe oil change, tune up, whatever, et cetera, so forth was. But we was mainly working on the Jaguar, trying to get the work pump off as it is a hard job to do.
And do you always have all of your parts on stock or on your person in stock with you?
No, we call either AutoZone, Mansfield, one of the auto stores that has it.
Okay. And did you have to go get any auto parts on January 9th?
Yes, we had to go get the water pump for the Jaguar, as well as some other parts, I believe, for other cars.
And when you go and get parts, is it usually just one of you, both of you, or something else?
That depends. If it's a car there, then one of us will stay. If it's not a car there, we go together sometimes.
Okay. And on January 9th, 2024, did you guys, did one of you guys go to the auto parts store, or did you both go?
We both went.
Both went? Okay. Tell me what happens when you go to the
Okay, let's us keep in mind, y'all. January the 9th, 2024 is the last day that anybody hear from Naziah. So let's keep listening to him. He gonna wrap it up.
auto parts store?
Before that, I called them. They ordered the water pump, so we went and picked it up when they called and said it was in. We got in the truck, went to AutoZone, got the water pump. On our way back from AutoZone, I believe we forgot something, so we ended up turning back around, going back to AutoZone, grabbed whatever we forgot, came back, and on our way back, we was coming down Harbor. Jarvis said, "I see my niece right there. She walking." We pulled into Anchorage.
I see my niece.
I still didn't see her. He pointed across my face, said she right there. She was coming across the street at that time. She got in the truck with us. She spoke. Hi, King. Hi, Jay. And we proceeded back to the shop.
So, when you guys are driving to these auto parts stores, who's driving?
Jarvis,
Okay, and where are you at?
passenger seat.
Okay. And you said when you guys are heading back to the shop the second time,
Mhm.
that's when, you said Jarvis spots someone?
Yes.
Who does he say that he spots?
His niece.
His niece, okay. And do you recognize his niece?
Yes, when I see her, when he pointed her out to me, yes, I recognize her walking across the street.
Okay. And so you guys pull over, where does she get into the car at?
I believe she getting behind me, so the back seat behind me.
Okay. Does Jarvis say anything to her?
Yeah, she speaks to both of us, and we speak back.
Okay. What does he say to her?
Hi.
Hi. And where do you guys go after you pick up his niece?
Back to the shop.
Okay, and that's at 9,000 times?
Yes.
Okay. And what do you guys do when you get back to 9,000 times?
He back in. We get out. We proceeded working on the Jaguar. I may have got out the car first with the parts, and he was in the car with her for a second. I got out, started working on the Jaguar.
And does what happens next? What do you guys do?
I believe she get out, get into the front seat, reposition herself to the front seat of his truck. It was colder that day. I believe she started the truck. We started working on the Jaguar, putting the parts back on. It took a little minute. Like I said, it was a difficult job, so it took a while. At some point, I believe his truck ran out of gas, so we had to stop what we were doing, push his truck to the gas pump so he could get some gas.
So you said that she gets out of the car that you guys were in?
Yes.
Okay, and then she gets into Jarvis' truck?
No. We was always in Jarvis' truck.
Okay.
So she gets out of the back seat and repositions herself to the front seat so she can start the cover.
And tell me, what kind of car, what kind of truck does Jarvis drive?
Escalade.
And what color?
It's Pearl White.
Shannon stated that he didn't have a vehicle. Lying ass.
What, if you can see, what is his niece doing, while you guys are working on shop, at shop?
Oh, I believe she's on her cell phone, I believe.
Does Jarvis ever take his niece anywhere that, like, while you guys are working at the shop?
No.
Okay. Did you ask him if he was gonna take her home at all?
I believe I asked him was he gonna drop her off when the truck ran out of gas. We had to push it to the pump. It was just a distraction from work, so I asked was he gonna drop her off. He said no.
And
he said no.
Do you finish working? Do you finish working on the Jaguar that day?
Yes.
Okay. And what happens after you finish up on the Jaguar?
I called my son grandma and asked her how she was gonna treat the vehicle. She said she was gonna tow it back. I told her she didn't have to do that. That was just spending extra money. So I asked Jarvis, was it all right if we dropped it off? He said yes. And we started making preparations to do so.
Do you recall about what time you guys finished the Jaguar and prepared to leave?
Probably around 7:30 or somewhere around there.
When do you guys eventually leave the shop?
Yes.
Okay. And tell me about who all leaves the shop?
Me, Jarvis, and his niece.
Okay. Tell me about the driving arrangements.
So I drove my 300 and Jarvis.
This is what's crazy about this, y'all. The guy that's on the screen right there, his name is Corey. His nickname is King. He never, the Butts man, Jarvis Butts never told him that the Desire's real name. He always just said, that's my niece. If you notice, that's what this man's saying on the stand. Mr. King writes right here. He's saying his niece, because he never introduced her as who she really was. If you pay attention and listen to what he's saying. My niece, his niece.
Drove the Jaguar.
And where was his niece at?
She was with him in the front seat of the Jaguar.
Now, are you able to recall what his niece looked like that day?
Yes. Faintly, but yes.
Do you remember what kind of clothing she was wearing?
I remember she had a jacket on. Like I said, a coat. It was cold, so I think it was colorful.
Colorful?
Yeah.
May I approach? Yes. Mr. Ray, I'm going to approach you to the proposed exhibit 2. And I'm going to direct you to the top left corner. Can you tell me, is there anything that you recognize in that?
The jacket in Channel 1.
Okay. And is that a fair and accurate depiction of the jacket that you've seen his niece, Jarvis's niece, wearing that day?
Yeah.
Okay. And I move for the admission of proposed exhibit 2. Any objection? Okay. So we move it as exhibit 2. Thank you. And then, starting with Smart Appeals Proposed Exhibit 3. Do you recognize who I just handed you?
Yes.
And is that a fair and accurate depiction of Jarvis's niece as you remember seeing her back on January 9th, 2024?
Yes.
Okay, and is that the same niece that went with you to Ypsilanti?
Yes, it is.
Okay, and you're moved for the admission of people's proposed exhibit 3?
No objection. Okay, to be admitted as people in exhibit 3.
Okay. So, you guys are driving to Ypsilanti. So you're driving in your 300, and Jarvis is driving the Jaguar with his niece.
Yes.
Okay. About how long did it take you guys to get to Ypsilanti?
It was raining that day, so about 35 minutes.
And when you got to Ypsilanti, what did you do?
Get out, we park the car, get out, we go in. My son's grandma and I believe his auntie was there as well, so they greeted us. They spoken to him before, so they greet him, and then my son and grandma asked who the little girl was.
Did you introduce the little girl?
No,
Okay, who introduced the little girl?
Jarvis did.
And what did Jarvis introduce her as?
His niece.
And about how long do you guys stay in Ypsilanti?
I don't know, maybe 15 minutes or so. My son auntie had to go get the rest of our money that my son and grandma didn't have, so she went to the ATM.
What do you guys do much when the ATM?
Talking, she was just telling us about the work she did around her house, etc., so on and so forth.
And was Mr. Buck with you the whole time?
Yes.
So, you guys eventually leave Ypsilanti.
Yes.
And tell me about the driving arrangements coming or leaving Ypsilanti.
So at this point, yeah, we only have one vehicle, which is mine. We get in, Jarvis in the front. I believe Nazaya sat behind me.
Is that behind you?
Yes.
Okay. Is there any kind of talking or conversation when you guys are driving?
No, I got sounds in my car, so no.
And do you recall about what time you guys, I guess where do you guys go when you leave Ypsilanti?
Back to 9,000 country.
Okay. And do you recall about what time you guys get back to 9,000 country?
Probably around 8:45. I was cutting it close on the tether.
What do you do when you get back to 9,000 country?
Opened up the shop door where he left. He left his truck in one of the bays, so we opened up that bay door, went through the gas station, because that's the way we get to the shop. Went through the gas station, opened the shop, opened one of the bay doors. I went to the back and started splitting the money that we had made for.
That's another thing I didn't understand. He said he went through the inside the store to go into their shop and they opened up one of the bays. So I don't understand how the store don't have different footage of that little girl being up there, Nazaya being up there at their shop all the time. That's a red flag too. I ain't seen nobody talk about this gas station, which was connected to their shop. They could have seen this little girl often there and could have raised some concerns about their child. Let's continue.
Today, and separating the receipts, etc.
Where do you see his niece go?
Getting this truck.
Do you recall where at his truck she got into?
Passengers.
Is that front passenger, back passenger, or something else?
Front passenger.
And where's Mr. Buck at?
Back in the back of me, separated the cash.
And when you leave, do you walk up the shop?
No, I left first.
You left first. Okay. So when you leave, who's still at the shop?
Jarvis and his niece.
Do you see them leave the shop at all?
No.
you seen, or have you seen Jarvis's niece, the one that was with you on the 9th? Have you seen her since January 9th, 2024?
No.
Now, I want to talk about the day after that you guys went to SC, so January 10th. Do you recall if Mr. Bucks was at work that day?
I don't think he was.
What makes you think that he wasn't?
I believe he called me like 3 times, 4 times. No reason for him to call me if he was standing right next to me.
He's speculating, but also the police.
Makes no sense.
Yes. So you said that you don't believe he was at work because he would call you? He would call you so often?
He called me. We had a 30-minute conversation on one account, and then we had another conversation about 15 minutes. So
that makes.
Let me say this. Mr. Wright's right here on the screen now that's on here. He stated that Jarvis called him January the 10th, 2024. He wasn't at work. He called him twice. Out of the twice calling, probably ended up being 45 minutes of talk time. He never mentioned to him nothing about the niece or anything. He never asked about the niece. He never mentioned the niece. That should have told him something then that he was nervous and he wasn't at work. He had already took care of his business that night. Let's finish his testimony.
You believe in your mind that okay, yeah.
What's the question first?
It's based on those conversations in his mind to him that means that Mr. Bucks was not in the shop with him. I don't think that's cheating.
It's stating the conclusion. If you already stated this was a shot previously. So I'll overrule.
You can.
one more time, I'm sorry.
So based on the length of those phone calls and the time of them, did that make you believe that Mr. Bucks was not the shot?
Right.
Did Jarvis Bucks ever mention to you about his niece being missing?
No.
Have you talked to Mr. Bucks, aside from that jail call that was played, since turning himself in?
No.
And do you know someone, do you know any of Jarvis' siblings?
Yes.
And which sibling do you know?
I met his brother and I met his sister.
You talked to his sister. Oh, straight back. Do you remember would his sister ever come to the shop?
Sporadically.
Okay. And are there times that you talk to her?
Yes.
Okay. And you talk to her about
That's the day after.
After the police questioned me, I believe she came up there and we spoke about it, yes.
Let me pause it for 1 minute. Let me ask you something. So far, since you heard his testimony, right? Do you think that he had something I'm not gonna say had nothing to do with it, but he did had to know something. I just don't see him all the time. Didn't have a clue of nothing that was going on, unless he's slow, and he don't appear to be that way to me. To be a businessman. Uh, do you think Jarvis was making up an excuse to get his daughter there just to get um the other baby there, the cousin, Naziah? Well, he turned himself in. He had to turn himself in January. Well, before she went missing, he was supposed to turn himself in, right? So when he went to turn himself in, he must have told them that he had something else going on that he had to take. He told them that to get rid of her. Just think about this. If girl was pregnant, he already had an ongoing situation that be gone for a extended time. He couldn't have a 13-year-old girl being pregnant and he locked up, and that was gonna form against him while he was in jail. Well, either way, he fucked up. Either way, he fucked up in this situation. So yes, that's what happened. He had to turn himself in on another situation of another minor, but they bought him more time. He even, one papoose, let me tell you how slick this bitch was. He was Googling how to do home remedies for a pregnant person, antifreeze and all this different shit. To me, he did his own whatever surgery, whatever you want to say to this girl. He got rid of that baby on his own. He didn't want to have to go to prison and she be out here pregnant. But if that little girl had played her cards right and not told him that she was pregnant, she'd have been still alive. She would have been pregnant at the age of 13. Yeah, but she would have been alive. She wouldn't have been dead. That would have been better being alive than dead. Either way, the situation bad. Either way it go, it's bad either way. But this man is a whole damn monster. Then he had several women. To me, he got women that had low self-esteem about themselves, and he got next to them to get to their children. Yeah, that important information. I can't tell yet if he had anything to do with it. Okay, well, we're gonna keep listening. Now, let me say this before I turn it back on. If you listen to this last little part, he got like 21 more minutes of his testimony of this. I think that they might go get him some type of immunity deal. And I believe that he gonna tell everything. But the thing of it is this. They gonna want to know why when they had this preliminary hearing, this is all you said then. Then you come back with some more shit. That means you lied on the oath. How can we find you credible? Was you in on it? Because that's what the fuck my mind gonna tell me if you come back with another motherfucking story after the fact. Let's finish this, and I'm gonna give you a rundown on what I think of all of it so far what we listened to today. We got 21 more minutes to go. Let's go. He don't need a life sentence. He need to be put to sleep. to me. You need to be put to sleep. No, hold on, let me get this. What did I do with it? To me, Papoose, he need to be put to sleep. They need to stop this bullshit. He done raped several women. He done been to jail 10 years in jail for hold on a minute. I got to get it back on the TV. I don't know what the baby did with the remote. Oh. But yeah, he a sick ass person to me. Let's see what we did with this remote. I don't think he need a life one Papoose. I think he need the electric chair. I don't know if they do that there or not, but he needs some more shit to happen to him. Hold on 1 minute. Let me get this right. Okay, now, hold on 1 minute. Okay, you must have. Hold on, let me see what you're saying. It seemed, I think they had low self-esteem, baby. They just happen to have a damn man. And I'm listening to people talking about, oh, he nice looking, ain't got shit to do with fooling with a motherfucking child in your arms at that. Them bitches had low self-esteem about themselves. And then they laid up and had 5 children. I don't know what to say about her. And she knew he was a predator.
And I'm showing you People's Proposed Exhibit 9. Can you tell me if you recognize that photo?
Yes.
And who is it in that photo?
Jarvis.
Okay. That's Jarvis Butts?
Yes.
Okay. And I move for the admission of People's Proposed Exhibit 9.
Wait a minute, I want to go back because they asked him, did he see Jarvis Butts in the courtroom? He told them no. And Lord knows, I think he in that courtroom. I don't know why they lying saying they ain't see that dude in that courtroom. Cause he's sitting between his attorneys, but behind them.
Yes.
And which sibling do you have?
I met his brother and I met his sister.
Talking to his sister.
We're gonna get into the sister testimony tomorrow.
Do you remember?
Her.
Would his sister ever come to the house?
Correct.
And are there times that you talk to her?
Right there.
Yes.
And you talk to her about Jarvis's niece being missing?
After the police questioned me, I believe she came up there and we spoke about it, yes.
Well, it gets them in two places, dead in prison. And I don't think he gonna fucking make it.
Yes.
Now y'all see that man sitting back there behind that woman. See him? Now they gonna ask him.
Can you tell me if you recognize that photo?
Yes.
And who is it in that photo?
Jarvis.
Okay. That's Jarvis Butts?
Yes.
Okay. And over the admission of People's Proposed Exhibit 9.
I was talking when they asked him, did they see him in the courtroom?
Right. I don't know what direct your attention back to People's Proposed Exhibit 3. It was Exhibit 3, I'm sorry. Yeah, do you remember holding it?
Yes.
Okay. And do you know who this person in this photo is now?
Yes.
And who do you know her as now?
Desire.
And the next time that you see Jarvis Butts after January 9th, 2024, do you see any injuries on him?
No, I don't believe I've seen it.
That's Jarvis Butts right there, one that post. That dude right there sitting behind there.
You said that, I believe, in your testimony that you would know Mr. Butts since about 2018, right?
That's correct.
Okay. You said you met at Frank's shop.
That's correct.
And you said you guys worked together at Frank's for about 2 years,
That's correct.
and so that means that in about 2020, you opened up the shop on Connor.
No, in 2021 I went to prison. So that's why we didn't work together for that period of time.
And so you came back
I came back and we went back to the same thing.
at Frank's,
Yes.
and then what year was that?
That was 2023.
Okay, and so then how long after you came back were you did your
Maybe a few months to maybe like the middle of the year. So maybe around either June. It was before summer, so maybe around April. It was still a little cold outside.
So the early spring
Yeah.
of 2023 is when you said that you think that you opened up the shop tonight?
Yes, it could have been earlier than that, but yes, around.
And so you became business partners?
Yes,
Did you become business partners?
yes,
Okay. And also consider Mr. Butts a friend at that point?
yes.
As far as the business arrangement, you said it was a 50-50 split. Did you split it every day at the end of the day?
Every day at the end of the day.
Now back around the beginning of 2024, maybe the end of 2023, were you seeing a woman in Clinton Township?
A woman in Clinton Township?
Yes. A friend of a woman named Shannon Harris?
In 24?
Yes.
No.
Ever?
Yes.
When were you seeing her?
This probably was 2000 and maybe 19 or 20.
So before you went?
Before I went to prison.
Okay. Did you and Mr. Butts ever have a falling out about that?
No.
Now you and Mr. Butts, did you talk about your personal lives?
Sometimes, yeah.
You spent good days at work together, right?
Right.
So presumably it came up.
Of course.
Talk about girlfriends.
Of course.
Did women often come to the shop looking for Mr. Butts?
Sporadically.
Did he talk to you about the various women that he would be seeing or juggling, maybe?
That happened.
Did it sometimes cause drama at the shop?
It happens.
Would come and confront Mr. Butts,
It happens.
maybe about other women that you've seen?
It happens.
Did you ever feel like that was affecting the business?
Not at Frank's.
What about at the business that you own with Connor?
No, it didn't happen as much.
Didn't have as much in Connor?
Right.
Now, sometime I guess, well, the two of you all were working together, you had a friend that was, I guess, talking to or trying to date one of Mr. Butts' daughters, is that correct?
That happened.
The daughter was 21, 22.
She was somewhere around there. I'm not 100% certain, but yeah, around that age, 20, 21, 22.
And that caused an issue for Mr. Butts.
It did.
He got pretty upset with this friend.
It did. I was in prison at the time, so, but yes, I was involved already.
Did you ever hear of an altercation that happened between the two of them?
Some kind of altercation did occur, yes.
Was it your impression that Mr. Butts was pretty protective of her?
Yeah,
Based on that?
based on that.
Do you know how many children Mr. Butts has?
13?
13
You said that some of
kids.
them would come to the shop.
Yes, I have.
You're familiar with them? And then asking me, I didn't want that all of them, but at the shop on Connor, you said his sons would come,
His son will come sometimes and stay today with us.
and his daughter.
She'll come sometimes and stay today with us.
And what's your name? Do you recall?
No, I want to misname it. I think it's something on the J or something like that, but I'm not 100% sure.
Was she like a teenager?
He has a teenager. She come up there sometime, but not really. The littlest one, maybe 9.
9 years old. What the fuck she doing at the shop? 9 years old.
And then his niece.
What she gonna do at a goddamn auto shop?
She talked typically with his own children.
When I first met her, yes, that's how I met her with his daughter. She would always come with his daughter. They would come up there sometimes to get air in their tires, make money, just typical kid stuff.
Did he ever, or did the two of you ever have them like doing chores around the shop?
Sometimes.
Did Mr. Butts talk to you about his children?
Yes.
Did you talk about spending time with them?
Yes, I believe he lived with the majority of them.
And you said that, you mentioned Tasha, she's one of the mothers of some of his children, correct? Was that who he was living with at the time?
No, I don't believe so.
No, you said, I believe in your testimony, that you had been to Ypsilanti twice with Mr. Butts. So,
Or 3 times, one of them.
it possibly could have been 3.
It could have possibly been 3. I'm not 100% certain.
Now, one of the times that, his niece was at the shop was, you said on January 9th.
First time I seen her by herself, yes.
That's because you have a picture up on Harper.
Yes.
Did Mr. Butts seem surprised that he saw her?
I'm not sure. I couldn't really, we was riding. I wasn't really paying attention to his expression. He just said, "Hey, there go my niece." I didn't see her, so he pointed her out to me.
And at that time, you only knew her as his niece, correct?
Yes.
You didn't have any idea what her name was at that time?
No.
And in fact, the reason you learned her name was when you identified that picture that was just shown to you and police told you what her name was. Is that fair to say?
That's fair, sir.
Now, in the time that you were at the shop on the 9th with Mr. Butts and his niece, did you see any inappropriate behavior or anything that made you raise your eyebrows between the two of them?
No.
What about any of the other times that his niece would have been there at the shop? Did you ever see any behavior that made you question or thought was inappropriate?
I can't say I have.
Now, the three of you rode back from Ypsilanti on January 9th. That was your testimony, right?
Yes.
Was there any conversation between Mr. Butts and his niece in the car?
There was no conversation between really nobody. I had the music on.
And I'm gonna back up to earlier in the day, when the three of you came to the shop the first time after you picked her up from on Harper. You said that she pretty much stayed in Mr. Butts' car the whole time.
Yes.
She said she was on her phone.
Yes.
Did you ever leave the shop at all after that before you guys went to Ypsilanti?
Maybe in the gas station.
So not just the attached gas station.
Yeah, maybe to the gas station. I'm not sure if I actually physically left the building. I'm not sure.
Would it have been for more than like 5 or 10 minutes?
If I ever left, no, maybe to use the bathroom, so maybe 10 minutes tops if I had to leave.
You never got your grab cards at any place that you can recall.
Not that I can recall.
Now, after January 9th, what was the next time you said that you saw Mr. Butts?
He left.
He left. Okay, he was not at work on the 10th?
No.
Okay. Were you there on time on the 10th, do you recall?
I'm never on time.
What time did you come in on the 10th?
Probably about 8:40. I go to the gym, so we open at 8, but I'm never there at 8, so I probably got there maybe 8:49.
And on the 10th, were you the one that opened the shop?
Yes.
Now, you were aware at that time that Mr. Butts was supposed to turn himself in and serve a jail sentence and go into jail. That's right.
Yes, I am.
You talked about that, obviously, because he was going to leave the business for a while.
Correct.
Okay. And you actually went to the courthouse and he turned himself in to support him, right?
Yes, I was there.
And he was serving time on a possession charge, is that right?
That's correct.
If you know.
That's correct.
And because you were kind of paying attention to what was happening, you understood that the court had gotten changed a few times.
Yeah, he told me that it had changed. So I believe he's supposed to get sentenced on the 9th, but it got pushed back to February the 7th. So I learned that through him. I didn't go to court with him that time. It's just when he got sentenced, I went to court with him that time.
Are you familiar with any court dates that he had out in the township around that time?
He did say he had something going on with his daughter, I believe. I believe it was domestic with his daughter of some sort. So yeah, I was familiar with that, I believe.
Was he going to court for that at that same time?
Around about, I believe it was supposed to be, yes.
That's a damn shame.
No, you got involved because at some point you became aware that the Detroit police wanted to talk to you back in February.
They came to the shop and picked me up
That should have you on.
to headquarters.
Okay. And that was the first time on February 13th, is that right?
That was February 13th. That's for Valentine's.
Then you said you spoke with them again a couple days later.
Yes, I would believe the first time I spoke with him, I was still on tether, so it had to be sometime after I was on tether, yes.
And then you spoke to them again in March, right?
Yes.
Was that a phone conversation?
No. All of our conversations was via person.
Okay. And then a couple weeks ago, did you also speak with the police
Yes.
and prosecutors?
I don't know if the prosecutor, but yes, I believe she was. Yes.
Now, in February, when you're talking to the police, by that time, had you seen anything on the news or on social media about who you later learned was Mr. Butts' niece?
No.
So at the time you were interviewed by the police, you didn't know anything about?
No.
And at the time that you were talking to the police, while you're on tether in February, You're entitled to short parole, right?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. And correct me if I'm wrong, but you had about 3 weeks left on parole at that point.
Not 3 weeks in February.
Yes.
I had 3 weeks left on tether. I got off actual parole in May.
Okay. So the tether was cut off, but you were still gonna have to report.
3 more months after the tether came off.
And in February, I believe it was the second conversation that you had with the detective, Jim Lee. You and the officer, the detective, spoke about the tether, right? Do you recall that?
I believe so, yes.
Because you were concerned every time you would go somewhere, you would be late, you were very.
Oh, yeah. Right.
And in fact, he actually said, hey, we'll take care of you if anything pops up, right?
He said, I talked to your PO, so you're fine.
Okay. And he also kind of warned you that you didn't want to get somebody upset about the way you were answering these questions, and have somebody feel some kind of way about you. Do you recall him saying that to you?
He may have said something to that extent. I'm not sure though. This is the first conversation or the second you asked me?
This is right at the top of the conversation.
I can't really recall every word. I know they were a little agitated. I was a little agitated. There was a lot going on, so maybe.
Possible that conversation.
It's possible.
Did you understand any of his statements while you're talking to him, to mean that the police wanted you to give answers, and if you didn't give answers, that they could mess with your parole or your tender sentence? Yeah, it was in a state of mind. It's about what you believe when it happened, and the impact of what he said. Was it your understanding that if you didn't give certain answers, that the police might impact your parole or your other status? Was that a concern of yours?
I mean, it was already affecting my tether, so I wasn't really, concerned about how he placed his questions upon me, So, I mean, more of a concern was my being picked up by the police. Police contact is a violation of parole within itself, so I was violated for the police contact regardless of whatever he was saying. You know what I mean? So, no, I don't believe it impacted anything at all, actually.
But your parole wasn't actually revoked because they took you to the station and leave, right?
No.
Now, we talked a little bit about this a few minutes ago. Mr. Butts was struggling with a few different women during the time you knew him.
Yeah.
And it's hard to keep up with all his baby mamas
I mean, yeah, it wasn't my job, so yeah.
and babies that weren't his baby mamas.
Right.
Did you get the impression from Mr. Butts that he didn't want these women to know about each other?
Of course.
A woman named Tasha was one of Mr. Butts' ladies,
Yes.
and that was one of his baby mamas.
Yes. To my belief, yes.
So there was some discussion about a phone call between you and Mr. Butts while he was at the jail about his phone, right?
Yes.
And after that phone conversation, Tasha actually came into the shop to get some work done on the car.
Yes, she came to get a oil change in the headlight.
And that's when you went and kind of looked at the phone.
Yes.
No, you didn't really want Tasha to know that you were looking at the phone, right?
Of course not.
And the reason for that was,
She's gonna wonder why I'm looking for a phone.
and it was in your impression that Mr. Butts was afraid it would reveal that he's talking to other women,
Of course.
and so you're trying to help him keep peace.
Of course.
Yes. I think testimony was on the 9th, and correct me if I'm wrong, but there was an issue during the day, Mr. Butts has us, is that correct?
Yes.
And he had run out of gas,
Yes.
and he had to get gas, is that correct?
That's correct.
And somebody pushed him to the, or helped push the escalator to a gas pump,
Yes.
Do you recall leaving with him that night and going and getting gas together?
For his truck, or what we saying?
Um,
Or for like a gas can,
well, either one. Did you all leave the shop, and perhaps you in your vehicle and he in his vehicle and end up at a gas station
no,
on the night?
No.
You don't really remember much of that?
I don't remember that, no.
Okay. I think that's all I have. Thank you. Can you redirect?
Okay, you guys. That sums up my today. But this is a case out of Detroit, Michigan. It's a 13 year old girl, Naziah Harris. She was adopted by her grandmother, Annette Harris, and she resided in the house with the auntie as well, Shannon Harris. Um she became real acquainted with Shannon's Harris baby daddy. She started having sex with him at the age of 12. They said the earliest could be 11. I'm not sure or whatever, but they do have evidence showing for as text messages between him and Naziah, texting one another back and forth. So he have been bound over to the grand jury. He will be tried by the jury. I see a lot of people on here saying that he probably will take a plea and wouldn't go through all this trial thing or whatever. But I don't know. I know one thing, it's gonna be an interesting case. It's gonna be a long case because they is on the news asking for other victims to come forward. So we shall see. Tomorrow I'm gonna try to come on and get the other testimonies out, and maybe me and one Papoose can get together and we can talk about this thing or whatever. But parents, mothers that have daughters underage, these men are not looking at you, they're looking at your daughters. Be careful who you let in your house around your kids. Not only just the girls, they taking the boys now. So I'm gonna leave that with you guys, and I'm going to get off of here. And I've been on here 3 hours and 8 minutes. Thanks for coming by. Please hit the like button, and I'll see y'all on tomorrow.